Hello Anatomy Geeks! I don't know if you know this, but every single week that I do one of these videos, there are at least 7 or 8 takes before the last one. I'm really hoping this is the one. Today, we're going to talk about proprioception. Proprioception is your body's ability to know where you are in space or where your nose is in space. So when we think about proprioception, we may have heard about this before in our courses, in our trainings, we may have talked about it with the ankles. So proprioception meaning where am I in space, what do I need to take the next step, which muscles, which angles, how much contraction, how much stretch, all of that together is proprioception. It's also known as kinesthesia. And we have specialized cells in, specialized nerve cells in and around the joints, the muscles, the tendons that constantly feed back detailed information about where we are in space. So for example, the ankle, if we're walking on a hard surface, each time we take a step, the brain is receiving information about the position of the foot coming onto the ground, how much we need to lift. So this is all happening to allow you to take the next step. And proprioception we can also think of as another type of balance, I suppose. So not only is it trying to feed back to the brain where we're at in space and what we need to walk, it will also kick in and give you joint positioning when we've got one leg in the air, for example. So when you're standing with one leg in the air, have you ever tried that with your eyes closed? As soon as you close your eyes, your proprioception takes over because now you don't have vision to balance you and equalize out where you're at. So as you probably know, or if you don't, here it is. Our balance is based on 3 things. We have our proprioception, which we've just discussed and we'll go into more detail on. Our vision, which is the eyesight, looking and balancing out the view continuously, and our vestibular system, the inner ear, which is a canal with gel inside and crystals which help us to then balance. So all 3 together make up our general balance system. So proprioception. Specialized nerve cells, specialized receptors in the joints, in the muscles, in the tendons, constantly feeding back. Where am I? Where's my nose? In my warrior 3, in my squat, how do I need to adjust to stay in this position? Now, the sad thing about proprioception is it can be damaged. It can lessen with age and also with certain diseases such as MS, Parkinson's, arthritis, joint injury, sprains. So when we sprain the ankle, for example, that ankle without proper rehab or training will probably not have as good an ability to know where you are in space, and therefore we tend to then re-injure again. So proprioception training is super important in the classroom, in the studio, whether it's fitness or yoga or Pilates, because we'll be then strengthening that so-called muscle, the proprioceptive muscle, which is not a muscle, but you get my drift. So what can we do to strengthen our proprioception? Well, practice is the way to go. So where we strengthen a muscle through practice, either in the gym or in the practice in the studio, proprioception can be strengthened just through challenging the joints. So balancing on one leg, doing some point work where you stand on one leg and you point one toe out and out to the side, point it back. Getting your students to close the eyes and seeing how they feel when you take away one of those, one of the elements of balance, and that can then further train that proprioception. Especially in people with any of those conditions that I mentioned, it's super important to work on balance and proprioception. So in another video later on, I will post a practical class on how we can put more proprioception into the session. Thank you very much.